Welcome to Daily Steps from One Extraordinary Marriage, where we outline simple steps that you can take to have the ultimate marriage adventure. I'm Tony DeLorenzo, your co-host, along with my beautiful wife, Elisa. In today's show, we answer the question, how do you pull off the logistics of morning sex?
This listener goes on to share a little bit more. The person says, do you wake up early to shower and brush teeth, then go back to bed? Surely you don't just roll over as soon as you wake up with morning breath and needing to pee. And in our house...
and honestly, that made us laugh.
In our house, the quick answer to that is yes. We get up to go pee and then we come back to bed, typically without brushing our teeth. Mm-hmm. If we're jumping into morning sex, that's how we do it for Tony and Elisa.
Now, let me say this. We're not heavy kissers, so we're not doing full-on making out, French kissing in the morning. And overall, we're just not heavy kissers. That's not a big foreplay for us. If that is something for you, then you may just jump out of bed real quick, brush your teeth real quick, and jump back in. But for Elisa and I, it honestly is a rollover, hey, and it's more like, gotta go pee real quick, jump back into bed. Boom.
That's because usually one of us is being awakened and it's just that, I don't know, Pavlovian response where you're like, yes. I got to get up and I got to go to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And we know that the way we do it may not be for you. And if showering before sex is one of those things that matters to you, I would actually even encourage you to think, okay, well, what if we shower the night before?
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Right? Because that actually potentially becomes a form of initiating sex. Right. The two of you can say, because seriously, how dirty are you going to get in the, 6 to 8, maybe 10 hours that you're sleeping?
And if you're concerned about that, make sure after your shower, have a fresh set of sheets on your bed. Boom.
There you go. Problem solved. Because here's the thing. Morning sex is, by and large, for most couples, it falls more into that quickie realm.
So we're talking 2 to 5 minutes.
Right. Where you're trying to potentially get it in before the kids wake up, or maybe your kids are awake and you're just hoping that you can get enough time to do it. You're doing it before the start of the day. Now, those of you that can make it a little more leisurely, by all means.
Go for it.
Go for it. Do what you guys do. But morning sex, I think for a lot of folks, takes a little bit more intentionality. Mm-hmm. Right, where you're just thinking, okay, you know what? What do I need to have in place? If you have these needs, right? You got to get up and go pee and you want your teeth brushed and you want to be clean, then you have to be intentional about making that happen. Others of you are going to listen to this and be like, just do it. It's kind of like a Nike thing. The logistics are, we want to have morning sex. We're both there. We're in bed. The great thing about morning sex is that you are both there and in bed, right? And
if you've had a good night of sleep, you're refreshed, you're ready to go. And afterwards, you jump in the shower, you clean yourself off, and you're good to go. I will have to say this too, with the little quick pee break right there in the beginning. Typically that's also a time when we make sure that we have a towel for cleaning up after sex ready. And if there isn't one beside the bed, then we make sure that gets brought to the bed when one of us comes back. Typically, that's Elisa.
The other thing when you're getting up in the morning, to do potentially the pee break, the brush your teeth break, whatever it is that you're doing, one of the things to be really aware of is that you don't get distracted by what your morning routines tend to be. Mm-hmm. Because it's very easy to hop out of bed and you're like, okay, I got to pee, I'm going to brush my teeth. And then somewhere in the walk back to bed, you detour somewhere else. Right? You're like, oh, but I gotta go check that thing, or I gotta go do that thing, and all of a sudden your spouse is sitting there in bed
waiting.
You were just here.
Right.
Where'd you go?
And that goes both ways. This could be the husband's in bed or the wife's in bed, either way.
Absolutely. And so it's looking at that and saying, okay, this is one of those areas, guys, where couples don't talk about it. Right? It's one of those areas where you can say, you know what? How are we as a couple going to work out the logistics of morning sex? And it's a conversation for the two of you to have, not the night before you want to have sex, in morning sex the first time, not when you wake up in the morning, you're like, this would be a great time and we haven't talked about it. So let's just talk about it now. Because I'm telling you, you try and talk about sex right before, it doesn't go well. Instead, maybe, Friday night, next weekend, you're like, let's just talk, what does morning sex look like for us?
And you bring that up, but I think that was a great one, because if you haven't had morning sex and you're not too sure what it's going to really look like, possibly set it up on a day when you don't have a work schedule ahead of you or taking the kids to school and all these activities. Plan it for a day off. If Saturday and Sunday are your day offs, then plan it on one of those days. If it's during the middle of the week, that your day is off, maybe it's that day that you can make it happen, but set yourself up for success. Don't set it up on a morning where you're trying to get up and you're trying to go down to your church and maybe go to prayer. And then after that, you got a meeting. And then after that, you got to make sure that the kids get to school. And then, set it up for success that first time or two or three or a handful of times. Play with it. Adjust what doesn't work. Use what does work. In the morning sex too, I will bring this up for Elise and I. Lube is critical. This isn't a heavy foreplay time. This isn't a heavy time of like petting and getting each other ready in that sense. We know it is a quickie and we enjoy that part of it. And yet what we had to learn and realize to get there was just like, let's have some lube, buy our bed, and use that.
Again, don't ever be afraid to have lubricant in any sexual encounter. Right? Like it doesn't matter if we're talking morning sex or nighttime sex or middle of the day sex. If you need lube, just go with it. Right? But like Tony said, it does help morning sex. And again, this is part of that conversation. Right? We have to learn as couples how to talk about those things that matter to us, how to talk about our sexual intimacy so that we can say, this person may be saying, well, you know what, I need to brush my teeth and I need to take a shower. He or she may have a conversation with the spouse and find out the spouse is not even concerned about that. Like, we just got to go pee and we're ready to roll. But you don't know until the two of you talk about it.
For more information on talking about sex, check out oneextraordinarymarriage.com/367.